Coming to you live from the fabulous MediaPlex in downtown Windsor, this is a St. Clair College journalism presentation.
Hi, I'm Courtney Turnbull.
And I'm Jill Thompson, and you're watching MediaPlex News Now.
A local fundraising campaign honored those who supported the United Way at Caesars Windsor. Rob Bennion reports.
Do you believe in your community? The United Way hosted their fourth I Believe in My Community Awards Night March 28th at Caesars Windsor. The event drew more than 250 guests. United Way CEO Penny Merritt called it a night to celebrate the amazing achievements of workplaces and individuals in Windsor and Essex County.
And so this is one of our ways of being able to say thank you to everyone that has supported us.
Rob Petroni, chair of the 2012 United Way campaign, is the business manager of Leuna Local 625, an international union which won the Labor Award of Distinction.
Take all the numbers you want, you can announce all the numbers that they raise, the number of people that they help. But quite honestly, the United Way helps people, literally one person at a time.
Also honored for their community work was Patrick Goggins, who won the inaugural Leading the Way award. His wife Arlene accepted on his behalf since he was unable to attend.
He actually, proud is one thing. He was very humbled when he was told that he was going to get this award. He does things, he's a very generous, caring person, and he does things from his heart and does not want the recognition. But he's very deserving in receiving the recognition, I think.
United Way runs a fundraising campaign annually to fund its 3 strategic investing priorities.
United Way Centraide Windsor Essex County has raised nearly $5 million to date. Reporting from the Augustus Ballroom at Caesars Windsor for MediaPlex News Now, I'm Rob Bennion.
Today is the start of construction diversions for Highway 3 travelers. The entrance to St. Clair College's main campus is changing. Travelers on Highway 3 will be diverted to a new road on the LaSalle side of the highway. This new entrance will be in effect for the next 15 months.
The organizers of a local fashion show had their hearts in the right place. Majeka Gorzelnik tells us more.
If you got it, strut. Windsorites flocked to the Room nightclub March 28th for Strut Windsor Strut, a fashion show to support the Windsor Essex Cardiac Wellness Center. The event, organized by Kelly Spinarski, owner of KES Makeup, featured fashions by Couture by Jenna, Dilly Daisy, Workhorse Lifestyle, Group Hug Apparel, Be Vogue Boutique, and Monty's Formal Wear.
Everyone just collaborated. I organized the show, but it takes a team to run it. Everyone was so amazing.
Jim Crichton of CTV Windsor was on hand as a guest speaker and spoke of his own experience with the Cardiac Wellness Center after having triple bypass surgery. The Wellness Center is a 6-month multidisciplinary cardiac rehabilitation program and is the only medically managed cardiac rehab program in Essex County. Local fashion designer Jenna Burke said she wanted to be a part of the event because of how many people she knows personally who have been affected by heart disease.
I definitely do plan on being involved in more fashion shows that give back to the community. I think it's really, really important to give back to the community because this is where we live, and if we're not giving back, then who will? So absolutely, I will definitely participate in another event like this.
The event was a great success according to Spinarski, who plans on doing many more events of this nature. To view photos from the event's photo studio, visit www.strutwindsorstrut.ca. For MediaPlex News Now, I'm Majeka Gorzelnik.
Now let's head outside to check in with our weather specialist, Sean Preble, who's standing on the corner of University and Victoria. What's it like out there, Sean?
Well, Jill, it's getting chilly out here with the temperature sitting at 1 degree, but feeling more like -5. Tonight we're going to see partly cloudy skies with a low of -3, and the wind chill is going to make it feel more like -10. I'll be back later in the show to tell you more about our extended forecast. Courtney?
Skilled trade workers are in short supply in Windsor. In this report, Jill Thompson tells us about opportunities in the field.
Lately, there's been much discussion about the lack of skilled trade workers in this city. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers have a training facility in Windsor that helps take 10 lucky students each year from apprentice to journeyman. Whether you're union or non-union, 10 out of the 200 applicants to this program get to hone their skills at IBEW's training facility each year. Carl Lovett, business manager at Local 773, explains why having students who want to become skilled electricians in the city is important.
If you're looking to be an electrician or an electrician's apprentice, what you want to do is make sure you maintain your science and math marks. You want to have some sort of industrial background. You might not be able to get into electronics or electricity in grade school, but you might want to get into maybe cabinet building, carpentry, that sort of stuff.
Regional organizer and membership development coordinator Mike Curry explains a little bit about the motor equipment students are trained on at the facility.
This year, right now, we're going to be looking to give it to either St. Clair College or one of the high schools. This was built here by Carl Lovett, our business manager now, our current business manager. This year is for data and cabling station. This year is your motors. Gives them motor training. Helps them with different types of motors. We got capacitor start motor, 4-pole squirrel cage motors. There's a synchronous motor generator here.
So if skilled trades are something that you're interested in, visit the IBEW website. For MediaPlex News Now, this is Jill Thompson.
On this edition of 5 Minutes With, Rick Doss sits down with Reverend Michael Rovers to discuss his involvement with Second Chance Ministries.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I have with me Reverend Michael Rovers from Second Chance Ministries. Thanks for joining us.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
So, Reverend, how would you explain Second Chance Ministries to somebody who's never heard of the charity before?
Well, Second Chance Ministries started when I was a volunteer in the Windsor jail, and we tend to see the same people over and over and over again, so it's called recidivism, which could be more than even 80%. So we figured, let's work with the people when they come out of jail and their families. So then we met a lot of people that have been in trouble with the law, and then we've started to figure out why people were in trouble with the law, and we decided to go to them and to give them the assistance that we could possibly provide to them and their families. But now we help anybody. Our ministry is a ministry that goes to the people every day and meet them where they're at, either at McDonald's or at Tim Hortons or in their residences. We go 2 by 2 and we do what we can to help them out as much as we can. As you know, many people are trying to live on welfare, OW, social assistance of $600 a month. Often they pay as much as $500 a month for their shelter, and then they have to try to live on $25 or $40 a month, and the deck is stacked against them, so often they ask us for help with regard to financial assistance.
Okay, so could you give me an example of maybe some of the things that you would do when you go to a call?
Well, most of the calls that we get are for food vouchers. If people get you know, their paycheck like they did today, they get the $600 from OW. Let's say their rent is $400 or $500 a month, which is not always a great setup. They try to live on $500 or $50 or $40 a week. All the people we deal with, you know, smoke pretty well, and they have a need for having a television, and they would like to have a cell phone, and by the time they're finished paying for those things, there's nothing much left, you know, in terms of food. So most of the requests we get are for food vouchers. They go to food banks where they get typically boxed foods or canned foods, but they don't get meat or eggs or fresh vegetables or all that. There's also an issue with bus tickets, and a bus ticket, one-way ticket in Windsor is $2.50, so the return ticket is $5, and for many people that's still a lot of money. So those are the most common requests. But besides that, we have requests for help with phone bills or hydro bills or shelter, for furniture. But the point is, we go to them, we hear them out, and then we try to do something for the people once we see them. And after we quarterback, we say, well, you have to go here for this, or you have to go there for that particular issue. A lot of people we deal with have issues with mental health and addiction, and so then there too, you know, we have to say, well, what is the best way we can help you and send you to the most relevant agency for assistance.
How would you say that Second Chance Ministry is different from similar organizations that operate in Windsor?
Well, what's unique about us is that we go to the people. We have 1 or 2 cars on the road every day, and we go to them. Most agencies have people come to them, so you make an appointment and you go to the agency that is making the appointment. But we go to the people, so we get a list sometimes of 20 to 30 calls a day, depending on the time of the month. At the beginning of the month, the requests are down because people just got paid. Towards the middle of the month and the end of the month, the requests are way up, and sometimes it's 20 to 30 calls a day. We go to them and we meet them where they are at, and we meet them on their turf. And that's more relaxing for the people that do ask for assistance.
Okay. Do you find that because you're going out to them and you're seeing them on a regular basis like this, do you find that you get to know them a little bit differently?
Yes, you get to know and they feel their pain, and they tell you pretty well their story. And many a time it's a story of their upbringing, the family of origin that was not always too supportive. A lot of people, because of the fact that they have been in trouble with the law, have burned some of their bridges, so their support system may not be there in as much as they want to see it happen. So one component of our ministry is the mentoring aspect, where well-to-do adults, more established people, take on their wing a person who is still struggling financially or with their mental health or their addiction, and meet with that person on a more or less irregular basis, whatever the situation is that. So we have a person in our ministry who is vetting all the mentors, and then we'll bring them together with the person who would like to.
For more information, you can contact Second Chance Ministries at the address on your screen. This has been 5 Minutes with Michael Rovers from Second Chance Ministries.
On this segment of Comics Crossover, Maureen Mariampola and Mike L. keep us up to date in the world of comic books.
Welcome back, comic book fans, to another edition of Comics Crossover. I'm Maureen Mariampola.
And I'm Mike L. from the Comic Book Syndicate.
Now, if I've never picked up a comic book before, where do I go?
Well, there's a very prestigious magazine called the Comics Journal. They've released a list of the 100 best comics of the 20th century. Number 2 on the list is Peanuts featuring Charlie Brown. Some other notable comics listed here are Little Nemo in Slumberland, Donald Duck by Carl Barks, Fantastic Four by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, The Amazing Spider-Man by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, Calvin and Hobbes by Bill Watterson, and The Watchmen by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. You will note, though, there's no mention of Superman, Batman, or X-Men anywhere on the list.
So why didn't the superheroes make the cut?
They're just not good enough, I guess.
So did you have any recommended comic books of the week?
Yes, there's a comic called FF by Matt Fraction and Mike Allred. This is a replacement team for the Fantastic Four. They've been lost in another dimension, so these guys are taking over while they're gone. It consists of Ant-Man, Medusa, Crystal, and the all-new character Miss Thing. FF is a throwback to the classic 1960s comics by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. So if you're interested in retro comics or comics for all ages, this is a perfect comic for you.
All right, and G.I. Joe, the sequel, is the latest comic book to hit the screen. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the first G.I. Joe movie from a few years ago was critically panned. This one was a lot better, a lot closer to its comic book roots. Bruce Willis plays the original G.I. Joe, and The Rock, the wrestler, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he actually plays Roadblock, a fan favorite from the cartoon. So if you do want to see the full review, you can go to comicbooksyndicate.com, which we saw it this weekend. So we were all there in full army gear, and it was a good time.
By the way, what was #1 on that list for comic books?
Crazy Cat.
Never heard of it.
Neither have I.
Next week, Mike L. will be dropping some knowledge on us about Wonder Woman and the lie detector test. Until then, I'm Maureen Mariampola.
And I'm Mike L.
The NHL trade deadline is the hot topic on this edition of Sports Talk. The panel sat down to discuss what moves we might see by tomorrow's 3 p.m. cutoff.
Welcome to Sports Talk, Trade Deadline Special. I'm Kenton Wolf. I'm joined by Rob Bennion, Mitchie Brander, and Evan Mathias. We're going to talk the trade deadline, obviously. There's been a lot of activity moving up to the deadline. Evan, what do you think has been the biggest move so far?
Definitely the Iginla deal to Pittsburgh. I think they needed a big guy in their lineup. It adds a lot of depth, adds a lot of leadership to that lineup as well.
I agree with Evan. I think the Iginla deal was the biggest one. It's a reigning 30-goal scorer, a captain in Calgary. I think that's a big piece for the Penguins.
The Iginla deal is definitely one of the more interesting ones. It kind of pulled the rug out from under the Boston Bruins, and last minute went to Pittsburgh. But I think the Jay Bouwmeester deal is one that's going to have the most impact. That gives St. Louis easily the most well-rounded and the best defense in the NHL.
Obviously, those are big deals, but I think the value can't be understated of the Robin Regeer deal. I mean, this is a guy, he's a defensive specialist. I mean, when you lose guys like Willie Mitchell and Matt Green out of your lineup, Regeer's kind of like the perfect replacement for those guys. So what do you think is going to be the biggest name move tomorrow?
Mika Kiprusoff, I think, is on his way to Toronto. It seems like Toronto realized they need a goaltender. They're not impressed for some reason with what James Reimer and Ben Scrivens have done this year. You know what? The goaltending hasn't been the issue, if you ask me, but seems like Nonis wants a goalie, and he's going to go get one.
I'm going to go with Jason Pominville. I think Buffalo is finally starting to do their rebuild. They got rid of Lindy Ruff. I think it's time that they break down that core, and I think Pominville will be the next guy out. He's a captain, so he'll get quite the return for the Buffalo Sabres.
I'm going with Ryan Clough on this one. He's a big body presence on the ice, and I could see him going to a Boston. Obviously, like you said, they were looking to get Iginla, and they didn't. So I think he's going to be perfect in that lineup. He fits right into their systems.
I'm looking to no other than Bingo Bango Roberto Luongo. I mean, this guy, the trade talk surrounding him has been apparent for probably the last couple of months now. I mean, it's probably time for him to go. Corey Schneider's finally taken the reins as the Canucks starting goaltender, so that's who I'm looking to. And Mitch, how much activity do you think we're going to see tomorrow?
I don't think we're going to see as much as people think we're going to see. I mean, a lot of the big deals have already gone down with Iginla and Bouwmeester, and I think we might see a couple of big names, one or two, but maybe some minor trades. I don't think we're going to see much.
Look, let's face it, it wasn't a good UFA class to begin with, and a lot of the guys got traded already. Obviously, so we mentioned some of them. Ryan Getzlaf, Corey Perry already got locked up to long-term deals. Vishnowski got taken off the market, re-signing surprisingly with the New York Islanders after he put up a bit of a fuss going there in the first place. I think it's going to be slow. The last several deadlines have been kind of slow, a little bit boring, but you know, it'll be fun to keep an eye on anyway.
Evan?
I don't think there's going to be too much activity going on either. You know, in a shortened season, nobody really wants to pay big money or big assets for a guy, so I think they're just going to keep what they have and roll with it.
Well, I'm a little more optimistic, guys. I think there's going to be 25-plus trades. I mean, everybody's still in the hunt right now. I mean, there could be as many as 10, 12, 13 teams still vying for one of those 8 spots. So that's it. That's all for us and the Sports Talk panel. I'm Kenton Wolf, joined by Rob Benny and Mitchie Brander and Evan Mathias. Oh, what's this? It's a late-breaking trade.
Let's check back in with weather for Sean. Is it good news, Sean?
Well, it is definitely looking like good news out here, Courtney. The rest of the week is going to be great, and that is no April Foolin'. Interesting fact about April Fools. In 1998, Burger King pranked several of their customers, introducing the left-handed Whopper. What they did was rotate their condiments 180 degrees for their left-handed customers. I could sure use a Whopper out here because it is dinner time and I am hungry. Now let's take a look at our extended forecast. Wednesday is going to be partly cloudy with a high of 4 and a low of -4. Thursday will bring back the sun we love with sunny skies, a high of 10 and a low of -1. We'll then end the week off with a high of 7 and a low of 1 with partly cloudy skies. It's looking like spring is on its way back, so get ready to shed your winter coats and enjoy the warmth. Back to you in the studio, ladies.
Edition of Health Minute, Haley Trelout explains how to keep your children healthy and active.
Simon says, clap your hands. Simon says, look cute and stare at the camera. You know the saying, monkey see, monkey do? Kids love being able to participate in the same things we do. So how do we keep them happy and healthy while having fun? Here's a list of tips that will help strengthen your child's bones and muscles and ensure they lead a healthy lifestyle. Keep in mind the age of your child before you incorporate rules or guidelines in an activity. Younger children don't understand rules and are often not coordinated enough to play organized games. Set limits on how much time your children and teens spend watching TV, playing video games, and surfing the internet. No more than 1 to 2 hours a day. The Canadian Pediatric Society discourages screen-based activities, TV, video games, handheld devices, etc., for children under 2. Playing organized sports such as being on a soccer or hockey team isn't enough to keep children and youth healthy. Encourage your child or teen to be active every day by walking or cycling to a friend's house, skipping rope, or playing in a neighborhood park or playground. If you drive your children to school, try walking instead or organize a walking club with neighbors. Encourage your children to take the stairs instead of the escalator or elevator. Get your child involved in activities around the house, carrying the groceries, raking leaves, or shoveling snow. Be sure all activities are safe. Children and youth should wear protective equipment for activities like cycling, skating, skateboarding, soccer, and other physical activities. For more information on keeping your family active, visit caringforkids.cps.ca. I'm Haley Trelout, and this has been your Health Minute.
A Sandwich Town landmark will be closing its doors by the end of the month. Adam D'Andrea has the story.
Old Sandwich Town residents will have to start traveling a bit further for postal services. Canada Post has announced that the old Sandwichtown postal outlet will be closed on April 26th after 107 years of serving the community. The announcement came after weeks of protests, petitions, and criticism from Windsor West MP Brian Massey and Ward 2 Councillor Ron Jones.
Why won't they come to the city of Windsor and come to some kind of common ground with the citizens? We need to be involved with the discussions. That is only the right and proper thing to do.
Windsor Workers Action Center President Paul Chislett said the push to keep the post office open is part of a greater effort to save Sandwichtown as a community.
There's not enough going into building the community as a cultural and historical hub of this wider Windsor area. So the people in the community can see what's going on, and they're trying to save their community, literally.
Local labor activist Ian Clough said there should have been more dialogue between Canada Post and the community to keep the post office from closing.
I think there should have been more consultation with the community, more consultation with the local politicians. It seems like Brian Massey, the NDP representative for that riding, had very little say in it.
The post office's 2 employees will be transferred to other locations. Both employees declined to comment. Reporting for MediaPlex News Now, I'm Adam D'Andrea.
Construction continues on the Windsor Aquatic Center. Sam McEachern sat down with project manager Don Sadler on this edition of 5 Minutes With.
Good afternoon, my name's Sam McEachern. Today we are sitting with Don Sadler, project manager for the Downtown Windsor Aquatic Complex. So Don, I understand you were also the project manager for the WFCU Center. Can you tell me about some of the key differences between building a facility like the WFCU Center versus the new aquatic complex?
They're entirely different buildings. And it was a pleasure to build the WFCU Center because we long wanted a major facility for our junior A hockey club, and that was the emphasis behind it. And the other thing we wanted to do was bring together all our community rinks. And so we ended up with 3 community hockey rinks, senior center, community center, and then the spectator bowl, all in one building. And that worked out quite well for us, but you can appreciate those types of activities. There's a lot of space in the rooms.
Yeah.
And they're individually on their own, whereas the water park itself is the major component of this downtown aquatic center. The water park is 45,000 square feet of, we were told it's probably the most active indoor water park per square foot in North America. So we have more, I guess, bang for your buck and more activity for people that want to use that than anywhere else. And so that means that the coordination and the building of that is quite intense. It's it takes a lot of trades, but it takes an awful lot of planning. You're not just pouring large slabs of concrete for rink floors and that type of thing. And then the mechanical systems for that facility, because you have so much airborne water because of sprays and all those things, is 10 times, maybe 20 times as much as you would find at a typical hockey arena. So I would suggest that it's the mechanical systems and the integrated building management systems that are the major difference between the 2 buildings.
Okay, great. I'm sure many residents have seen the concept drawings of the new facility on the City Windsor website. In your opinion, will the designs be true to the center when it's finished?
Absolutely. The natatorium, the 71.5 meter pool, is has the same shape in the same location, and then all of the water park, as I said, those rides and features were all selected by council, and that's what we have on the website. So that's what people are going to see.
Great. Were other facilities similar to the aquatic complex in Windsor closed in order to make building the center possible?
Yes, the plan was to re-engage the buildings that they're in, but the Windsor Water Park down off Glengarry and 80 Knox Pool, and repurposed the community center over in the close to Micmac Park, and which is College Avenue. And those three buildings will all be repurposed, so they'll have a recreation function in the community.
Okay.
But they won't have an aquatic portion
No
because the
pool.
aquatic portion will be picked up with this new center.
Okay, great. So are you on schedule to meet the deadline to host the International Children's Games?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, after this week, I feel a whole lot better. We met with all our sub-trades and all the different factions that are working in the building this past week, and it seems like we're definitely on track to meet that target.
When will the Aquatic Center be complete for full public use?
What we intend to do is, after the games, then close it back down and work away at finishing off the water park. And also, during the games, we're probably going to operate some of the systems and everything manually, but they will then, once we're able to integrate the water park features and the natatorium, then we're able to, through a building management system, operate everything through automatically. So a lot of those types of integrations or whatever are going to happen after the game. So when the games are over, we'll shut the building down to the public and finish everything up and open in the 1st of December.
Great. I'm Sam McEachran, and this has been 5 Minutes with Don Sadler.
A year ago, we went live from the MediaPlex for the first time with our Headline Challenge game show. Now, every one of our news broadcasts are live on TV Cogeco. The second annual Headline Challenge is right around the corner. Here's a quick look into what this year's show has to offer.
Well, it's going to be a tough challenge once again. I think the first years are a little bit more nervous every year because they haven't had quite the television experience that second years have, but they're a competitive bunch, so it's going to be fun.
Think you can pull out a win?
Oh, definitely, of course. With Madison and Sean by my side, of course, we're gonna kick some butt.
The second years have some experience with James. He was one of the contestants last year, as was I, so I know he'll do a good job. But the first years, you know, they got some good up-and-coming young talent there.
Now let's check back with Sean outside to see what's going on.
Well, the wind chill is starting to take effect, and tonight it's going down to -10. So just this once, forget about shedding your winter coats and make sure to bundle up if you go out. Jill, Courtney, back to you.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Courtney Turnbull.
And I'm Jill Thompson, and you've been watching MediaPlex News Now.
MediaPlex News Now is a production of the St. Clair College Journalism Program.